Why did you write this book?
Well, people who learn tango in a different country, they get very curious about what is in Buenos Aires, the home of tango. And I had gathered a lot of experiences, and I wanted to give those experiences to people in Scandinavia to start with. Yeah.
Just Scandinavia?
Yes, and now since it was very well received, I decided that it was a good idea to have it translated into English, and this is what has happened now.
So when you wrote this book, your point of view is for Scandinavian or rest of the world? For example, when you say something to Scandinavian, when you say something to Italian, when you say something to Korean, they all receive differently. Yes. And also, you translate. In the book you said you mediate.
Yes.
The world of tango to the people in Scandinavian.
Yeah.
You think whatever you said in the book now is translated into English, it will be as well received as you intended for Scandinavians?
For non-Scandinavians?
Non-Scandinavians.
Yeah.
Right.
This is, I have very little experience from that so far. So what I know is that the woman who is an author, an editor, who is not a tango dancer, she was very involved and really wanted to do the editing of this book. She is from New York. I have some Dutch people who have read it, and they are also very positive. What will happen when someone from Japan or South Africa reads it, I don't know. I have no experience. So it will turn out one way or the other.
Okay. Now, let's broaden our scope. And you said, assume that since it was written in English, is our de facto official language of the world, meaning you mediating the culture of tango. Some people say Buenos Aires, some people say Argentina, but let's say Buenos Aires. What is the core of idea you would like to transmit, you like to interpret for the people in the world, dancers or non-dancers? I think let's start with the dancers who was bitten by tango bug and started dancing tango.
I think one important part is the part about the códigos, the rules at the milongas, which I think is a very good idea for a person from any country to know about. If they want to adjust to it, that's something else, but it's a very good idea to know about these rules, and they are in Gustavo Bensekri-Sabat's book, and it's just that it comes there as an appendix, and I've made a larger section with their own comments on that. The other thing is something which is general, I think, in all countries regarding tango. There is this section called elevator riding between heaven and hell, and this is a phenomenon which you find in tango in the countries that I have visited, and people I've met from different, even local dancers here, or it's some kind of specific general thing about the tango, where you can. There are so strong fluctuations between being completely satisfied, you can use the word happy in the tango situation, to being completely down and depressed. And this can change within the same hour or between 2 different days. And I know that it's very comforting for people to read about this. Since something almost everybody experiences.
So when you say between heaven and hell, means totally 2 different sides. But some people might come for feeling of heaven. But what you're saying is there is not only heaven, also hell. Are you trying to say this is reality? Are you trying to say just stay without heaven? Or?
No, I think I'm just saying that these are characteristics of tango life. I don't make any efforts. Yes, I do give one advice. Never have any expectations, because anything can happen in a tango situation. But apart from that, I'm not trying to make people behave so that they will be happy in every milonga or something like that. I couldn't do that.
Now, that expression, heaven and hell, does it also happen in your milongas in your country, or milongas in other countries as well, or what is your experience?
Yes, it's my experience that it happens in other countries as well. Okay.
How do people cope with it then? I mean, here and other countries. Now we're talking about fluctuation. You said fluctuation, very wide range of fluctuations. We're talking about even expression to me was like it's more than bipolar, in psychology.
Yes.
People trying to narrow down. Yes, you cannot avoid ups and downs. No. At least what they're trying to do is narrow or under control. But what you're saying is hell and heaven. It's just one extreme to another. But what really intrigues me is people keep coming back, like yourself, like myself.
Yes.
What is this secret behind why people keep coming back, even though there is happiness? Yes, you have to hit the bottom. What do you think?
Well, I think it's the experience of that hell can turn into heaven again. I think that's it.
Okay. Let me just read some notes. Let me just go through a few points that I put down. At some point you said men who dance tango tend to be more sensitive than not. What do you mean by sensitive? And men are more sensitive.
Well, this was said by a very experienced milonguera from here, who is a psychologist. And so the reality I really don't know, because I know almost only tango dancers among the men. But as I say somewhere else, for instance, tears, you can see the football team when they have lost an important football match, how the tears come from their eyes. This is something very different from the Swedish culture, for instance, and many other European countries. Tears don't belong with the men. That's what they learn when they are small boys. And this probably is a general difference between Northern Europe and this country, for instance, so maybe Latin America. And south of Europe, it could be the same, that men tend to show more of their feelings. I really don't know about this difference between tango dancers and non-tango dancers. It's just a statement that came from an experienced milonguera here.
Okay. But also, I'm going to ask you a question about códigos later. But in the book, you said you quoted somebody saying in one of the codes is dance is milonga is to be tango is to be danced, but not to express your feelings. You said that after you talk about kissing on the lips in milonga, then after that you said, well, one of the codes says tango is to be danced, not to express your feelings.
Well, certainly I have not said that, because the feelings are very important.
Let me quote.
Yeah.
Dancers are there in order to dance, not to express. Not to express personal feelings for each other.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's making kissing and
making scenes,
and that kind of behavior. Which
Okay.
doesn't. It's actually a comment that Gustavo Bensekri-Sabah has.
Okay.
To the codes, yeah.
Okay.
So.
Okay. So it's. I mean, to me, I understand what you're saying, but when I read it, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So we talked about codes. Could you explain briefly what codes are? Why are they created?
It was very interesting to read about these codes. I knew the practice of them, but Gustavo Bensekri-Sabah also gives a little bit of history behind some of the codes. And they belong in some history far back when the women went with their mothers to the milongas, etc. And they don't so much now, but still the codes are kept. And apparently they are experienced as very functional. For instance, the cabeceo, where the man invites from a distance and the woman can choose to dance with the man or not, answering this invitation or not. This is specific not for Argentina but for Buenos Aires, because if you go to other towns in Argentina it's not like that. It's more like in Europe, the men come up to you and invite you. So even though some of these codes historically have belonged to some cultural pattern which doesn't exist any longer, they apparently are experienced as functional, and people like to keep them at the traditional milongas in Buenos Aires.
You said traditional milongas, and how are non-traditional milongas? How do they invite or invited?
Well, for my own part, I go to the traditional milongas, and I've visited La Viruta, for instance, also. I know from what people tell me that it's more common that the man can go up to a woman and invite her, and even, I think, it happens that a woman can take the initiative and invite the man. This is something which normally is not done in the traditional milongas. The dressing is probably a bit different also. It's more relaxed in these less traditional milongas. For instance, changing shoes at the table is something which belongs to the codes in the traditional milongas, that you should be ready for the invitation ceremony when you sit down at the table, so the shoes should be changed outside or before you get to the table. But many young people, even though they visit the traditional milongas at times they haven't seen or learned about that code, or they maybe not interested. I don't know. What Gustavo Benseki Sabah says is that their teachers have not informed them about the códigos, so they don't know about it, the younger generation.
Now, I understand you are teaching in your country,
yes,
in hometown. Do you teach códigos as well?
Yes, I have done that. We have used, for instance, tandas and cortinas. Mm-hmm. So the same pattern of playing the music as they do in the milongas in Buenos Aires. There are a few other things, but there's so many of the codes that wouldn't apply in Sweden.
What about códigos? Just cabeceo, let's say.
Yeah.
Does it apply, or
No.
Why not?
Well, I know that in Stockholm there has been some attempts to use that, and people who have been to Buenos Aires, they would use that way of inviting. But it's so common that for one thing, the people are not seated in the way where it's practical to use a cabeceo. You need to have a certain structure in the salon. Mm.
Do you think in the future, near future, will, let's say one tradition, cabeceo, will be adopted by many tango dancers in other countries?
I doubt it. I think things like tanda and cortina, that pattern of playing the music, that will spread probably more and more. But the cabeceo it's depending on the way the chairs and tables are structured, and therefore I don't think it's realistic to have that. We have done exercises in Sweden and the place where I teach, and people find it very amusing, and they can do it for a while, but they wouldn't do it normally. Mm.
Now, let's compare some cultures.
Mm-hmm.
What is your understanding of so-called culture of tango? Meaning something that doesn't exist in your country or other countries, but only here. Very unique characteristics of culture, let's say tango culture here.
Tango culture in Buenos
Aires.
In
Buenos Aires, yes.
Mm-hmm. One thing is the way people dress. The women tend to show a lot of bare skin because the Argentine men love that. And that doesn't seem very important in the countries that I have visited dancing. Never to that extent. Having an extra shirt to change into for the men, I have never seen that in any other country. It's here, you can see that. The invitation ceremony is specific. Then it's a lot of consideration and politeness in this culture in Buenos Aires, at the traditional milongas. You take care so you replace your chair so it will not be in the way for others. Things people wouldn't think so much about it in other countries. Many things like that, which is specific to this center here.
Well, you mentioned that women here tend to show more of their skin.
Yes.
What do you think there is behind this desire to show more? And it sounds like to me very sexual, provoking sexual feeling.
Yes.
Is that what you're trying to say?
The thing is, it's so funny because I am all these years old, and I can walk in the street and men would go past me. If I have a top which by accident shows a bare shoulder, it has slid down or something, and looks will come even on a woman of my age. It seems, and also I give an example. I could give an example. I wore a top which showed more bare skin than I normally do, and all my regular dances became very much more sensual in the dances. So the effect is there on the men immediately, even in a case with a woman who has reached, I guess that's why the women who are even between 70 and 80, they use these clothes which women in other countries would not, which shows a lot of bare skin. And so that the women do this, I'm sure it's because they know the effect on the men. And this is an important part of the culture also at the milongas.
Okay.
Yeah.
But again, that kind of way of getting dressed it could be in other cultures interpreted as an invitation for sexual relationship or sexual whatever.
Yeah.
But in the book also you said that there is a difference between love or act of love versus erotism.
Yes.
But to me it sounds like they're trying to provoke just erotism. It's come and get me. But how can you draw a line? Do they really know where to draw a line and stop? What is your experience?
When it comes to the way the women dress, I think that this is to become an attractive dance partner, and maybe not to catch a man for the night. And I mean, it has a tradition, this tango. And you can see, women coming from different kinds of jobs, changing into shirts skirts with slit and a lot of bare skin on the top, etc. And they dress almost like the women maybe did in the what is it called, the bordellas.
Or else.
but it's and it's clothes that they would never use with their friends and family, but they use it for the tango, and I think it has to do with becoming an attractive dance partner, more than to get the partner for the night.
Okay. Now, so what are they looking for when they come to dance floor, when they come to milonga?
Mm-hmm.
Men, women,
Mm-hmm.
what are they looking for? Why do they keep coming? What are they after?
Mm-hmm. I can give some examples because people come for many various different reasons. There are those who are looking for these magic experiences in the tango, the oneness. The majority, I think, are looking for good dance experiences. There are men who are not and will never be good dancers, but they just enjoy holding the woman in his arms, in the embrace. There are so many of them that I really think this is an important part of the tango for many men, the closeness to a woman. And of course for the women too, that this is important. But the majority, I think, come to have a good dance experience.
What is a good dance experience? Can you explain? Can you explain in the words what good dance means?
The utmost, the highest on the scale, as I see it, is when two souls and two bodies merge into one unity, provoked and assisted by the music. And to reach that, you need the tools. You must have learned somehow the skills of tango, not to make complicated steps, figures, but to be able to move, to have the right position, for the woman to listen and follow the man, and for the man to lead in a good way. The feeling for the music, the rhythm, and to get these maximum experiences, it's a matter of for two people to interpret the music in the same way, and which makes them kind of go up into some higher atmosphere. And but the tango, this is before I ever had that kind of experience. Tango was so important to me, and it's this is just a luxury thing which comes after a lot of experience.
But you said tango was important for you even before this experience. How important? Why was it important before that experience? Why was it important?
I loved learning the tango. I loved the music. I loved to follow. I had a job as where I had to take a lot of decisions, and I enjoyed so much to be in a situation when somebody else was taking the decisions. It was a combination of many things, and sometimes fairly quickly, about after 3 months, I had a fantastic dance with El Gato from here. He had some kind of workshop and danced with all the women in the workshop, and I very quickly got this feeling how fantastic it could be with a good dancer. So this was something to aim for and to become more and more experienced.
Now, but you, right now, your book, when I read the book, I guess focus was more on women's side, right? Now, when you just said good dancer, well, you're referring to male dancer who can make women have that experience as quickly as possible. I mean, there are a lot of things involved. But now, can you describe, as much as you know, who is the good female dancer? What is expected of this female dancer? Can you describe?
I think that one primary thing, one important thing is that she can listen and follow the lead of the man, but also that she listens to the rhythm of the music and has her own experience of the rhythm of the music. That she gets skilled when it comes to position, how to move, so the man gets a clear idea of where she is in her balance, where she puts her feet, etc. But something I think which a good male dancer appreciates is if the woman also feels the music very strongly. There are some of the things. But then, in order to do that and to have this complete community with the music, you have to have a partner which is good. But the other thing is when you go into a community with a partner and the music. So surrender, I think it's very important, and this is you are there with your full person. It's not that you delete yourself.
Right. It's in the book you said you fall in love with somebody and then let go of that person and then others. As I said, the word surrender is deceiving. Some people just so bogged down with word as surrender, especially women. And surrender to the man. And this just sounds like a very sexist machoism. So, but you have to think about it. Man has to surrender to you too.
Yes.
To have, as you said, to have that experience together. For me, in tango, men are so masculine. Women are so feminine. It is so good.
It's so
to
beautiful.
have that experience together.
Yes.
Men are doing man thing.
Yes.
Women are doing women thing. Listening music together, so that I guess energy is flowing.
Yes.
And going back.
Yeah, it's only 3 minutes, I used to say to my students. It's not dangerous. Then you go back to what you're.
Let's see. Have you had experience, or have you met people who came to Buenos Aires or tried to come to Buenos Aires or came to Buenos Aires several times to have that experience but failed. So they may not have this happiness feelings, heavenly feeling, but misery, agony, depression, so that they gave up. Have you met?
Yes, I think I have. In some cases it changed after some while, but they just hated it for the first, I don't know, week or 10 days. And this could happen to, I would say, one of the very best dancers in Sweden was here. And he didn't get any dance with the women. He was so depressed. And as you can imagine, he was a very appreciated dancer in Sweden. And it took, I think, about 10 days before he got dances again. And there are other men who have described that they were almost starting to cry because of this experience, terrible experience. And I've seen men who have been in this state, and sometime a week later I've seen them, beaming with joy. Then they have got into the warmth. But I'm sure I have heard about the people coming back from here and who just were unhappy about the experience. Yes. Not many. That's very unusual, I would say.
I'm sorry, I missed the point. Not many had that kind of sad experience.
Not many came back home and had only had a sad experience. That's very, very few. Most people go through a bad period, but they in the end they get some good experiences and they want to come back.
Come back. Okay. Why do they? So you haven't seen people who really failed and said, "I'm not coming back here. It's just not my thing."
Yes, I mean there has been one or two, very few.
Why do you think they failed to have that kind of experience? Any conclusion? Any impression?
I don't know. Maybe they went to the wrong milongas because they're always if they went to El Beso and some other milongas where the demands for being, good dancer and known by the other ones there, etc. And if they went there and sat there one evening after the other, well, this is it. They have to get to milongas where the atmosphere is more open. If they didn't do that, this could be the reason. Because I have seen dancers, women also, who really didn't know very well to dance, but they still have been invited by men. And but in general, I think it's so valuable if you have quite a lot of experience when you go to Buenos Aires for the first time, because then you can take part in the milonga dancing in another way. You can come here, you can take lessons, go to practicas if you're not experienced, and get a lot out of it. But if you want to have a full experience with all the ups and downs, then I think one should gather quite some experience before one goes here.
In your book, you discuss the benefits of tango, physical, and emotional.
Yeah.
Now, there's all this, let's say, bipolar experience, ups and downs, and sadness, happiness. Some people say it's unrealistic. We live in fantasy world. People coming to tango to avoid reality. What is your take on that?
No. This is definitely not my idea. I think what you have in the Milonga world is like life in a miniature. It's not avoiding reality. It's you have everything in the Milongas which you have in life, even death. You have and I think it's it can be a very good experience to learn to somehow handle all these feelings which come up in these situations.
But you think it's healthy physically, going through all these emotions, going to Milonga, stay there 2 or 3 hours. Most of the dancers I know, they go to dancing 2 or 3 times a week. If I say this one to let's say some Northern Europeans, and their first reaction is, how can you maintain their life? They have you have a job, you have to go to work. How can you maintain their life in order? But if I see people here, my friends, I see them 2 or 3 times a week. Yes. Healthy, for me, healthy mentally, physically. But your opinion, you expressed body reactions in the book. But do you think is healthy physically, emotionally to dance? Have this tango life?
Yes, I think it of course, if you stay up to 4 or 5 in the mornings and you need to go to a job in the morning, it's not a good thing. But the tango can be danced instead of watching TV in the evening. And it's a lot more healthy to go to dance tango than to sit watching TV. Depending on how you handle the tango situation, I definitely think it's very healthy, mentally and physically. And you see people who are high up in their ages, and they keep their they train their balance. They are much more fit. If something happens to them, that they would break something, or they much quicker they recover because they are trained. So I know there are some people who have got damages through the tango, but that's very uncommon.
I think some people get injured at the beginning, especially when they start with certain instructors.
Yeah.
I think that's why, for example, when I went to England, a lot of women complained, my back injured, this and this. Who is the teacher? What does it? What she do? All kinds of crazy things.
Yes.
Things that they don't do here.
Yes.
Here, most of the teachers say just walk. Or if you talk to Milongueros, what can I do? They say walk.
Yes.
Find your walk. Find your tango in your walk.
Yes.
Over there they do acrobatic things.
Yeah.
That was my experience.
Gymnastics.
Gymnastics. Yeah. In your book somewhere you compare this tango experience with meditation.
Yes.
Can you elaborate?
Yeah. When you dance tango, you need to concentrate, and you go into the music. You are within yourself and within the couple, inside the music, and everything else is cut off. There are definitely people who are, saying hello to someone outside the pista, the dance floor, but I mean the general thing is that you do concentrate, and this I have myself experienced twice, getting that kind of effect that I expect that successful meditation gives, where everything, all the senses were thoroughly rested and colors became more vivid and so on. And this also makes you able to dance for hours and hours. I don't know if it's the same with the men, because they can't close their eyes and they have to watch out for the other couples so they don't get into difficulties. But the women, they can really completely get into the dance, close their eyes, and in that way get a lot of rest dancing the tango also. So,
Well, let me add that to since you mentioned male perspective. Yes, it is. As you said all the senses are rested. Let me say, rested yet fully open, I think.
Yes.
So that when we in this logical realm of our consciousness, eyes completely connected to logic, so that all the decisions being made by visual. Other senses is kind of left out. From there, when we dance, all the senses are open, and the function of a visual becomes minimum. This is only provides visual cue in terms of it's here, but that it does not dominate.
No.
So it is resting. Its whole senses are open. I don't sit back, but I know what's in the bag, or turn or not. So whole being make its own sphere, so that I know where I am, even though I don't have to turn, so that I can be rested. I can feel secure, and also as male perspective is little. I maintain this my area. This is our universe. Me and my partner. So this create this energy field, kind of protect shield. Yet I shouldn't say protect shield, because it has to communicate. It has to connect. Not only me, my partner, but also other partners. Energy comes from other people. Energy from other whole milonga. So we create this universe, but that is communicating, breathing together. So eyes, whether or not eyes are open at that point, it's irrelevant.
Yes, okay.
All the senses are open.
Good to hear.
But also in the book, you said you have to lower the defense mechanism.
Yes.
That is very, very, easy to say, but very difficult to swallow in many cultures. For example, a lot of people say, "Oh, can I embrace that total stranger? I've never seen him." How can you convince somebody that lower your defense mechanism to dance?
Yeah. Well, this is really up to each person, and it can't be forced, I don't think. But I know that my opening up I felt all parts of me. It happened when I had been working at Studio Dinsel, the Dinsel studio, with an experienced instructor, and where we worked with the psychology of tango. And it was a fantastic experience when I got out from Dinsel studio, and I just felt that all channels within me were completely open, and there was a sense of complete well-being, happiness, I could say. So otherwise, just to say to yourself, give up your defense mechanism. I don't know if that would function. And I don't have any recipe how to do that. It's something each individual, I think, has to find a way to work with that.
I understand you are teaching at your home country. What is your teaching philosophy then, based on all the experience?
Well, what I try to do is to supply the students with the tools that you need. I give them background and history of tango. I give them different kinds of tango music. Try to get them to interpret the music with having, for instance, different kinds of rhythms, double tempo and slow, and listening to the music and use some of the tools, the techniques to do that. But someone asked me, what do you do to teach how to dance with feelings? And I really, it's not easy. I don't know how to do that. So mainly it's a question of supplying the tools with position. And I could tell, for instance, the women that you need to listen to the man leading. Even if he does the things wrong, you have to listen to what he is trying to lead. Because you will never become a good dancer if you don't learn to follow and listen. Things like that. And they are, independent women, emancipated, etc. But somehow they learn and they enjoy it, to go change the role from what they are in the everyday life.
Do you think it is a must to come to Buenos Aires to be able to have that tango experience you're going to be talking about?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so, no. I remember my first tango high or whatever. It was in Sweden. And the music played was Oblivion by... and it was the music creating this feeling, and it was, as my partner said, it was like our souls started to dance up there. And this happened before I came to Buenos Aires, so it's possible. And there are, we're very fortunate in Sweden, for instance. There are quite a few people who come from Chile and Argentina and Uruguay who grew up with tango music. So, and they very often learn much faster than the Swedish people to dance with feeling and with the embrace. So with them one can have very good experiences also.
Do you believe tango is for everybody? Anybody?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What do they need to do to be able to take their path toward this tango experience we have been talking about?
I know that people can get so much out of the tango, even if they never will get this kind of tango magic in the dancing. They enjoy learning to move to that music. They enjoy the embrace. The women learn to enjoy to follow. The men to lead. They get interested also in the tango culture, and they start, getting more music to listen to, books to read maybe, etc. So you can get so much out of the tango even if you don't get these magical moments. And I think it's for everybody. I have 2 students now. One is started in January, he's 83, and another one is 77. The one man who is 77, he has prosthesis in his knees and in his feet. And he is very much enjoying this. And he will continue, and the 83-year-old one also. And it's...
Do they tell you what they get out of it?
Oh, they just say they enjoy it so much. Yeah, but they haven't specified with many words.
Okay.
Mm. And they also feel, of course, that it's very good for them to move and to do it in this nice way to the music, etc.
So when you say whenever you say music, means other than tango.
Yes,
from here.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
Is there anything you'd like to add to talk about tango to the world? Anything you'd like to add about your book? Anything?
I think we have talked about a lot of things,
yeah,
and I think that people should really try to get into the tango, and only if they feel that definitely this is not for me, okay, give it up. But one should never on beforehand think that this is not for me. There are some amazing examples. I have had one person, he was not good at any dances at all. His wife loved to dance. They started to dance tango, and he is one of the best of my students. You never know. Okay.
One last question. If I ask you to define tango with one word, what could it be? Tango is? Can you finish the sentence? That whole thing. Tango is this. So.
Tango is oneness.
Thank you. Wonderful.